All right, we're rolling.
We're doing this. We're doing this.
So, how you doing, brother?
Dude, I'm doing great. I'm ready to get after it.
Yeah, dude. Get after it. It's a new chapter.
It is, and I'm excited about it. We'll see where we decide to take it, but just saying saying get after it. I'm just so fucking excited. Like,
I know, and it's just it's funny. It's funny how it began. It just started out of nowhere. We just sitting on my back porch one night and just kind of say get after it, and then the idea spawned to just kind of start a whole lineup of things regarding this. So I think it's going to be pretty neat.
Yeah, and doing it with your best friend, like it's going to be, and as much as I'm excited for the brand, get after it and what it means and what it represents, which we'll get into. I'm just glad people are going to get to see this podcast and see our relationship and all the stupid shit we've done and talk about over the years and all of that. So
yeah, dude, I agree. Yeah, dude. I mean, it's exciting for me. I've always wanted to do a podcast. I mean, we can kind of dive in and for people that are watching, like I'm trying to like hold things up so I can focus my my camera because it seems to be a little off. But I've been really into podcasts for a while now, especially with Joe Rogan and whatnot. I'm sure everybody knows who Joe is, but
and technical wise, we'll get better equipment and better software as we get going. But
yeah, you got to start somewhere. Zoom's free.
Zoom is free. But I think you can correct me if I'm wrong or guide it wherever. I just think we should just start introducing ourselves and how I don't know where we want to start from the beginning or where we're at now in our lives and go work backwards. What are you feeling?
I mean, first off, I think we just introduce ourselves. I mean, I'm Peyton Dyer. And
I'm Wilson.
Yes, sir. And man, we've known each other for a long time. When did we first meet? I moved to Huntsville in 06. And you've been here your whole life.
99.
Born and raised. So
right.
Yeah, with us, I guess it kind of starts, I would say it was roughly like 4th, 5th grade when it came to like rec league football.
That's where it started, was the rec league football.
Little Bucks. So
Little Bucks.
Which is a way throwback,
Yeah. But dude, from there, like literally, like we went from being complete stranger little kids to within a couple of weeks, we were inseparable. Like we were always doing something together. I was always at your house. Your parents
or vice versa.
Yeah. And my parents just clicked, and my parents took you under their wing. Your parents took me under their wing as each other's own, and it's been a great journey, dude. And thinking back to the time, like all just from that point, that's where it started, and we have this entire story, but it started 4th grade, dude.
So that would have been like 2009, 2010, somewhere in there. Second grade, 06, 7, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, it was probably like 2011, 2012, somewhere in there.
Yeah. And then,
I mean, I remember when you lived in in another neighborhood from me. So look background on that. It's like me and Peyton met each other through the football aspect. We quickly became friends, and then started, as he said, hanging out at each other's houses and whatnot. And our parents became pretty close, which like we're really lucky to be in the circumstances we were in with that sort of thing. But then later on down the line, he ends up moving into the same neighborhood that I lived in. So kind of since then, we've been, right down the street from each other.
Yeah. Like your parents were you and your family and our friendship were the reason we moved into that house, and a large contributing factor, it's a sense of community. And, it takes we didn't think about it then, but our parents had to have seen like our friendship and what it was and could be and what we meant to each other. And I know you had other friends, but like, and we'll get into that, like just the different dynamics we had. But no matter, you got into baseball later on and I got into football, but we were always that neighborhood bond from being fourth, fifth grade on, combining neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And we weren't even at the same school for a while. Like seventh grade was the first time we had been friends for probably 4 years before we ever even went to the same school. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we were zoned in different areas and I don't know if we want to delve into like family things, but his mom's like a teacher and whatnot. So he was kind of at a different school than I was. But yeah, in the middle school, we kind of came together. And then since then, it's been riding.
Riding. And then football, middle school and freshman year, that just, made us even more closer boys. I mean, we were already close, but just continuing that friendship. And what was interesting to me, it was kind of, if there was going to be a test in our friendship, looking back on it, it's kind of like you split off from football. I don't know. I don't want to tell the story for you. I feel like you just weren't as passionate. You wanted to focus on baseball. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the main one with baseball is I started getting into travel ball and whatnot, and I was, trying to pursue college and things of that nature to get a scholarship. But also just with football, I noticed myself getting headaches and whatnot. You know, every day you start off practice with board drills. We warm up, then we do board drills, helmet to helmet contact. And I was just like, I had to have had 3 or 4 concussions and just never told anybody about it, But I do the whole practice with a headache and it was miserable. The only thing I liked was game days.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things, but I was a big baseball guy, kind of preferred it. You were always more into the football side of things and definitely got into like weightlifting before I did. That's another story we could delve into later on about how like, your body type and how you just dramatically changed like your situation within high school. And then for me, it took a couple years after the fact, being in college, to kind of nut up and figure it out,
Yeah. But it's interesting to me in the aspect of like we could have easily like you split off and we were all friends collectively, but there was definitely like a kind of a split. Like we hung out together, but baseball players were with baseball players, football players were with football players. That's just the nature of the beast in high school sports. You spend so much time together. We could have easily just like been friends, but kind of split off and went into different aspects. But we were so close and loved each other, and we're just such good friends that like no matter what our schedules were, you were always at the football games. I would go to as many baseball games as I could, and we had other friends and other aspects and reasons for being there. But no matter the split that we had, we were always boys in there for and with each other, no matter really what happened. And that's just awesome to me that from fourth grade to senior year through, sophomore, junior, senior year, like just stayed together and lots of that we'll delve into, but we had lots of trials and tribulations and things.
Just your typical guys going through puberty and fighting and whatnot. And like, mano aspect. I mean, that was definitely fun times, I mean, back then we were probably pissed off about shit for no reason, but looking back at it, it was actually kind of entertaining.
Yeah. And I'll never forget the day. I can't remember like what it like the specific time frame or what was going on, but we were out in your backyard. I think our friend Justin was over and you pulled or I pulled like the string out of your jacket or something, or you pulled mine or something, and something so minimal. We might have been playing football. We just started rolling around, tussling in the yard. I'll never forget your mom coming outside and yelling at us like, "Get your ass home right now!" Like move, like treating me like her own son. And just I don't know why that's so special in my mind, but just boys being boys, and that was our friendship. Like, but literally, I think within like 2 or 3 hours, I was back at your house and we were just playing, getting back.
I actually vividly remember that going down. It was basketball. We were playing basketball.
Okay.
And the next thing you know, we get into it, your little brother was over there, Austin, and it's funny back then because I look at Austin as like as a little brother for me. not having any siblings myself. So I just remember him yelling in the background, telling he was rooting me on to try to beat you up. And I thought that was so hilarious. He's like over there because he couldn't do anything. So he's like, "Get him, Dyer, get him!" Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
but yeah, within literally a couple hours, you're right back and we were just eating dinner. Like nothing happened.
Yeah. Yeah. We go back a long way, and we've got so much time over our life as we do this podcast to, like, I'm sure we'll delve into the nooks and crannies, but like, what are you up to now, man? Like, kind of like, I kind of see us like painting the picture of our background, where we've been to now where we are, for what it means to how we got to get after it. So what do you see? What are you doing, and what is your life right now and in the next 12 months? Like, what's your, from my own perspective, I'm interested.
So, yeah, man. So currently at home on a summer break. I go to the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa, and so it's just a quick drive. I live in North Alabama in Huntsville, and me and Peyton here both grew up here in Huntsville. But yeah, I'm majoring in finance and minoring in real estate. So I've got one more year at Bama, and then in the spring I should be done, and then I'm gonna dive into real estate, getting my license there, and moving forward with whatever kind of catches my eye. I've got a few ideas, between joining different firms and just trying to learn. I'm looking for a mentor. It's one of those things where I got to finish college first. I've definitely had my trials and tribulations with college itself.
Yeah.
But I've definitely enjoyed my time, and Peyton's even been able to make it down and visit me and stay with me and go to football games, specifically an LSU Alabama football game. What was that? The 2019 season.
Yeah.
And I got him down into our block seating section with all my fraternity brothers, and it was honestly hilarious because Peyton's dressed full purple and black, like or purple and gold, whatever he was wearing at the time, like full garb LSU in the middle of an Alabama student section. Only guy wearing purple, and he's like he was very smart with the way he handled it, especially considering how the game went and LSU winning. But it was just so hilarious to be sitting there and all my brothers just fucking with them and tapping them on the head and whatnot. And then when they score, Peyton just goes and he just simmers down real quick, not trying to stoke the fire too much. But it ended up being a good day, a good night for you.
It did. I've had a lot of trips down to Tuscaloosa. I've probably been down 4 or 5 times in total, and I'm sure I'll be down there again this year at some point. But it's always a blast, like channeling my inner college kid. I can't wait.
Yeah, I was talking to Wes. Are you going to the Atlanta game?
Yeah. Well, so I've got the ticket with Wes. I don't know if that's a student ticket or if they're doing student tickets for that game.
Okay. Because I actually got a ticket for that game as well with some of my pledge brothers and whatnot. So I'll be there. I'm sure we'll pregame and see you there. I'm not sure how seating is going to work. I don't even know what my ticket looks like, whether or not it's a student ticket or how they're gonna deal with that.
What y'all's plan? Do y'all plan on staying in Atlanta for like a night or something, or y'all just leaving? Like what?
Well, that's a slippery slope. we you kind of have to stay the night for a college football game of that nature if we're going to be tailgating, unless somebody just decides to DD, because I'm not going to be able to drive.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I'm sure we could probably go in on Airbnb or something like that. A couple of years ago, we went to the kickoff game in Atlanta. I think it was who did we play? I don't even know who we played. It was some blue team. We just went down there and stayed down there. I think it might have been Duke or something like that.
Yeah,
Does Duke have a football team? Okay.
Yeah, Duke.
Yeah, I'm just in the SEC world. That's kind of how it is for us.
Yeah, dude, I'm down to chip in on a B&B if y'all have the space. You've also got to account for Wes. Wes is very laissez-faire in the fact that I was like, hey, dude, like because I'm either going to fly or drive. And if I fly, like I kind of have to have some set plans. Like it can't just be, show the hell up and wing it. And Wes was just kind of like, man, I was going to get the feel down there when we get down there.
That's literally just how Wes lives his entire life. Doesn't care, not concerned about anything. But yeah, we'll figure something out. I think it'll be about, including me, it'll probably be 5 or 6 of us with my guys, and then so it'll probably be 8 of us total, which I'm sure we can figure out a way to bunk up in an Airbnb, bring an air mattress or something like that.
Yeah, and I'll
make it work.
Whatever.
And then we'll just split the Airbnb, however. But yeah, we'll talk about that down the road in the next couple of weeks and start getting that stuff finalized and whatnot.
This is a great platform to discuss our drinking plan in 2 months.
Yeah. shout out podcasting for allowing us to determine what's going on.
But I mean, that's our life. I mean, that's what I want people to see is our relationship. I love it.
Yeah.
But I guess I'll delve into me a little bit.
Yeah. Tell us about you. Tell us what's going on with you right now.
You're the college guy. I, out of high school, took a little bit different route. So he played baseball, in the latter years of high school. And I played football. Growing up, the plan was to, for me, somebody else's plan for me was to play college football. But I just didn't have the passion for it. It's kind of crazy how life comes full circle, but I'll get to that later on. So I always had the passion to join the military. That was my goal. My passion was to join the military and do that. And I've done that. I went off to basic training about the time y'all went off to college. I went down there and sent it off one more time before I left, but went to basic training. I'm in the Army. Went to basic training, Fort Jackson. I'm now an intelligence analyst. I've been in for going on 4 years now, wrapping my time up in the Army. I've enjoyed my time. I've got to go cool places. I lived in Poland for about a year, got to live in Europe, done a lot of different neat things that I never would have been able to do. And it's afforded me the opportunity to pay for my school, my associate's degree, and then the GI Bill will pay for my bachelor's and master's degree. So that's kind of where I've been the last 4 years while he's been in college. I've been doing the military thing and I've enjoyed it, but it's time to close this chapter. I'll begin now within the next 6 to 7 months. And I'm getting out and going to school, go Tigers. I'm planning to get into college coaching, college football coaching. I'll delve into that when plans are a little more hard, but I've got some contacts I've been working, and the plan is to be a student assistant down there when I get out and go from there, see wherever life takes me. So that's kind of me. And I find it interesting that, even 4 years removed, me living in Europe and Kansas for the most of the time, even that hasn't, separated us. Like we go, there'll be periods where we don't talk because life is busy, life is crazy. But
well, that's the thing I feel like represents a true friendship in a sense. And I've got like 2 other people that are 2, maybe 3 other people that I'd say are kind of the same way. That was previous to college. I've met a few other guys now in college that I've developed pretty good relationships with, but we can go a month, 2 months at a time without speaking to each other, even seeing each other. And let's say he comes back home, visit, we pick up right where we left off. It's like nothing even happened. It's just like, hey man, let's go get something to eat. It's just pick it right back up. Nothing's awkward, nothing's weird. And I think that's a testament to actual friendship and how friendships really should be. I mean, everybody's busy. We got our own life goals. We got stuff going on in each other in our own lives. So it's just neat to still have somebody there to to lean on if you need them, or just a friend, a true friend,
Yeah. And I don't know if you felt this, but I've kind of, as I've grown, felt this. Like I've become great friends, like you said, other friends, and great friends with different groups of people. But there's something about the bond and the way somebody that you grew up with, and the way I feel about you compared to other great friends that I have. I can't tell you what it is. It's just that comfort level. Right. I know so much about you, and just being there through those formative years, it just feels different. No matter, they can be great friends. I don't know if you felt that similar.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is different because like when you grow up together, I feel like you meet people when you're older in life. You only know what they tell you or like what you see day to day with them, and people develop ways to like put on a facade and whatnot, and maybe not be the person that they really are. But like getting a ground level, we know each other from like the heart on. Like we know exactly what each other thinks and whatnot, and have seen each other go through hard times and good times, and so I think that's definitely you know related to why we're so close and why we're much more comfortable with each other. And I think you make a valid point there. I don't know how to explain it either, really, in that sense of I'm just much more comfortable with you and maybe a couple other people, but like it's definitely a good point you make there. It's pretty neat.
Yeah. It just goes back to the comfort of the relationship. And we were talking about this, I think on the your back porch so we're doing this podcast, but we have two other friends that we're best friends with as well. Aaron and Garrett. And we were talking about the dynamics between the group. And I've experienced this with another group of friends that I have. And I don't know why, but I love breaking down the intergroup relationships about how like, all right, so me and you are best friends. And then I explain the fact that like, I feel really close to Garrett, and then you feel really close to Aaron. And
Right.
then Aaron, Garrett also are completely like, have their own separate relationships that they were hanging out for a while we were both gone. You know what I mean? Like, I find it so interesting that like as a group we're four best friends, but the relationships between that are varied in strength. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's kind of levels to it, and I think it also goes to like it's neat in that aspect of having like that we had four of us, and that's a situation. So like say we me and you leave, but you still got that other guy to like you link up with, and shit's still just cooking as usual.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is funny that you say that, thinking about just the whole dynamic of it, because like we're all close, but then like we sometimes just won't talk for like 3 months. I mean, just like it'll just be casual, like.
Or I'll check our Instagram group and see the stupidest shit that I have ever seen after not talking to somebody for 3 months. It's like, oh, great,
Don't get me started on that. It's just like out of nowhere, someone else sent a video in, and the worst person about it is Garrett. Garrett has the worst videos possible. I don't even want to get into it. So I'm not at liberty to speak at the shit that he sends us. But like, we all have our downfalls there. But that man. And then Zawacki will come in with the most off the wall shit too, and I keep it pretty minimal, just like a little comic, relief here and there.
I the last time I've posted something in that group chat, but every time I see it, it's always something heinous. I'm like, why?
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, we got to form our foundation first, but I can't wait one day to have them on the podcast. Like.
Yeah. And real quick, so I noticed on here, I think it says that this Zoom meeting is going to be 40 minutes. So I didn't know that. So it might cut off. I'm not really sure how long we've been going or when we started. It doesn't tell me on my screen. But if we cut off, that's why I could always try to edit it later down the road. Does it tell you on yours the time?
No, I just still see it recording. So the little red dot.
It gives me an option to pause recording, but I mean, I don't really want to pause. But maybe we could just pick up on another one and edit it and add it into the video when we post it later. But I'd like to figure out a way to go longer than 40 minutes on a Zoom call. I'm not sure if that's an option. I'm not really, it's funny because we've been going through this times of COVID over the last year and everything going on. You'd think that we'd be more versed in Zoom, or at least I would, being in college and having to take Zoom U for the last year in that aspect, But I definitely think that's a testament to the aspect of like how many kids really paid attention on Zoom over the last year. Like, I know how to work it, but do I know how to really run it? I mean, I'm kind of just now sitting down and trying to learn it.
Yeah.
It is self-explanatory overall, but still there's just like certain little aspects that by now I should have already had mastered.
Yeah. I have had very little experience in Zoom over the last I don't know, 2 years now. COVID's probably been close to it at least. I don't know, a year and a half.
We're pushing a year and a half. I think like middle of March of this year was like the 1 year mark.
Okay.
Like I want to say like March 11th, March 16th, somewhere in there, or
Okay.
March 19th. So I don't know.
It just feels like a damn eternity.
It feels like it's been a decade. Like,
I'm just glad, honestly, I wasn't an established adult when all this shit started, when this COVID stuff popped up. Like, I guess you could call me an adult, but I don't feel like it. Like, I never lost anything through COVID, pay wise and stability. And then you were in school. So I don't know. I know it had an impact, but like it didn't halt you, from my understanding, from going to school or anything, did it?
No, for me, you talking about COVID, like halt. Well, so there was a lot of aspects of COVID that affected universities, like on campus wise, living situations, and so for the whole last year, at least in the fall. So it kind of happened last spring where they pushed off and they essentially just kind of tried to cross over to online within the same like 2 weeks to a month time period, and we went online. But then in the fall, it was completely online. Like we didn't have an option, it was a global pandemic, and so it didn't affect us in the sense of they still took our money, and we had to pay the same amount of tuition and whatever it is just to log into a freaking computer and not really learn squat. But because it's a whole different dynamic. I know some people learn in different ways and have their different ways of learning and their best ways to ingest material, but I'm definitely an in-person type of guy, and I'd much rather sit in a classroom and see my professor, shake his hand or her hand, whoever it is, and go from there. But it impacted it in the sense of not being able to attend classes in person. They allowed us to still go to classes and I guess learn the material, but I definitely think it affected it overall. I actually just saw some things today that, the University of Alabama, at least, and I'm pretty sure a lot of colleges are going back to 100%. Like we're at full capacity. If you're fully vaccinated, you're good to go. They're saying like they're going to encourage masks if you're not vaccinated and whatnot within the school buildings. But football is supposed to be 100% capacity, and so that's going to actually be really neat. Get another year of actual football and not having to deal with this. The whole capacity thing last year, I don't know if the stadiums were 50% capacity or what the deal was, but they had a whole ticket lottery and the way they did it, and they were supposed to allot a certain amount of seniors by credit hours, and then so on and so forth with juniors, sophomores, and freshmen, and it was a whole shit show. And
you could have been a student and wanted to go to the game, but just not be able to get a ticket.
Exactly. You could request a ticket every football game, but there's no guarantee that ticket was going to be fulfilled and you would get a seat, and whether or not you were in lower bowl or upper bowl. But also on top of that, once you went to 2 games and got 2 tickets, to say you were just opting in because you're probably likely not going to get a ticket, the chances of you going to a game that you wanted to go to are very low. So if you opt in and get a ticket for a Kentucky game, you got to go. If you don't go, it goes against you, But once you got 2 tickets fulfilled, you couldn't do anything else. Like if you wanted to go to the LSU game or whatever said game was, that was big, like Mississippi State or any regular season games of that nature, it's just like you're out of luck.
There was no planning. It was just like, oh, hey, I got a ticket this week.
Yeah, essentially, as long as you could choose not to opt in for said game, but you could only opt in for the 2 games that you really want to, but then you would just be stuck in limbo. And if you didn't get a ticket, you didn't get a ticket. And so like, it doesn't matter how bad you wanted to go to whatever game it was, excuse me. But
I'm just glad moving out of that, hopefully, phase of life. grew a lot as a person. I don't know if you did though, through like just adapting. Like I kind of felt kind of sheltered, to be honest with you, before like society. It's kind of philosophical and deep, but like society for so long was moving so perfectly. You know, I kind of felt like I wasn't old enough to remember 9/11, and that was like something that shocked the world, that like showed our vulnerabilities, and I don't remember that. So like our entire life, like life was perfect, you know. We never had any issues, and it kind of casted the fact that, hey, we are vulnerable, like the society is not perfect, like stuff can happen and will happen. Like I don't know, I mean, I don't know if you felt that
No,
way, but it was,
exactly. Definitely the first big, big thing that happened, I guess, for everybody. I mean, thinking back for me at least, there was things along the way that impacted us, like for us here with the tornadoes, back in sixth grade. So it'd been like 2014 or something like that, with those April 27th
I
tornadoes and huh?
think that was 2011.
2011. Okay. Well, yeah, but it was just a whole, that was crazy for us in that aspect. That was the first time we encountered like power outages and just having to deal with that. But where you're going to is, yeah, I mean, definitely had to learn a little more about yourself, kind of being stuck with your own thoughts and not having a choice. Like for a while there, we're locked down, couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, fortunately for me, I lost weight during the pandemic. Somehow, everybody's like gaining weight and this and that. And I don't know, for some reason I was outside. I was still working. I was doing landscaping and whatnot. So it was just me and, one other guy, two other guys just out cutting grass and stuff. So it wasn't really at risking contact with people. So we were just outside. I was
I,
sweating all day.
I will take the side of the people that gained weight. And I only gained like 5 pounds. I know, looking at me like a gainer or whatever, but like literally I had to change some things. The first 2 weeks COVID happened, after about day one of sitting in my room all day, literally the only thing there was to do was drive to the gas station and get some beer to drink. And so 2 weeks straight of, it's 12:45 and I've been up for 6 hours. I've played as much Xbox as I can. I'm bored as shit. Might as well crack open a beer and start drinking and eating junk food. Like, so I gained some weight there at the beginning, but I quickly was like, this is going to get bad if I don't turn my life around and stop drinking like a fish. So,
well, yeah, because you're a complete gym rat, like I'd say a half of your life is revolved around the gym, because it's like your little sanctuary. And I'm slowly trying to migrate into that section of my life and go there. And I definitely love the gym now, but I attribute a lot of that to you in that sense.
yeah.
So
and
I guess go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say the gym for me is more mental than, like, I like feeling good, but like when COVID hit and the gyms were closed, dude, like my mental was down. And I know like it represented across society. I know like 2020 was like one of the highest years for suicides. And I can see it, especially like how I still deal with life in a lot of ways is meditating through the gym and just getting all of that nervous energy, anxious energy, thoughts of the day out through the gym. So yeah, it was a mind twist there for a while. And hopefully, you find some value in the gym in that way as well.
I definitely have. I mean, since COVID, I've been hitting it a lot harder, and definitely seeing a lot of changes. It definitely helps with the mental health, and I think that translated through the pandemic and whatnot. Definitely a lot of depression and anxiety, just spread across the globe from that aspect. But on a good note, Zoom came up on my screen and said that they took the time limit off, a gift from Zoom. I don't know. They're trying to bribe me right now, so we'll see. But we can keep going as long as we want.
Add the credit card after this.
Yeah, they're going to be like, yeah, every minute that you went over there, it's going to be about $10.
Like, it would happen, dude.
Yeah, you're gonna That's going to be about 75.
Dude, they all like the subscription services, dude. So like Peacock, for example, I was to watch The Office. They took The Office off Netflix, opened Peacock, and then Peacock was free. And then they were like, nope, it's $5 a month now after like 3 months. I was like, what the hell? All right, I'll pay the $5 a month just to watch The Office. And then about 2 months later, it was like, oh, you could keep watching this, but we're going to throw in ads and you've got to pay $14 a month to have the ad-free version. I'm like, what the it's
yeah. And even with Netflix, so it went from however much with $9.99, and then they just slowly start. They're like $12.99, and then now it's like $15 or however much it is now. But all these, they're getting smart. You know, everybody's going away from satellite and cable and whatnot, and everything's going to streaming. But now you end up paying more.
Yeah,
the bundles are definitely awesome. You know, like what is it? The Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and Hulu or something like that. Like those are the best, kind of your best bets. But that is a upside of being a student in a lot of ways. At least college student wise, you get a lot of discounts, or they'll give you like free accounts or free subscriptions while you're a student and whatnot. Now that is not ad free, I might add.
Oh.
I got a free subscription with Hulu through the university, and boy, they literally have 5-minute ads.
Yeah,
and you can't skip them. It's like it's almost more. I'll just assume not watch anything. It's worse than having commercials on TV.
I refuse Hulu. Like the version you pay $5.99 a month for, you can't even watch a freaking episode because you get 5 minutes in. Oh, what's going to happen? Here's 3-minute long ads that you can't skip. And then you get an answer to your question, another question in the show. Here's another 2.5 minutes of ads. I refuse Hulu. I've deleted it off all of my devices
and boycott Hulu. Boycott Hulu.
Yeah, dude. Like I pay the premium for no ads. Like I pay for YouTube. It was like YouTube Red. It's like YouTube Premium now. Pay for that monthly just so I have no ads on my YouTube. I will not. I'm glad Netflix has been old reliable because they've never added ads to anything. And
They're threatening to.
Are they?
I've heard some things here and there. I mean, financially and business wise, I mean, I can understand it makes sense, but that's going to bring a lot of people up in arms.
If they, I will be devastated, and I will delete Netflix, and I will have to boycott Netflix as well, and I'll have to take them to court because.
Well, because I can honestly say that Netflix is like my top grossing. For me, like what I watch the most of is YouTube, and there's Netflix. Like, boom, those two.
I've been trying to be more positive though in my life, and I think it's actually. I hope they do add ads because. I hope they do incorporate ads because it will give me a reason to cancel their service and watch less TV because TV is not my goals. I need to stop watching TV, which I don't watch a lot of TV now anyway. But
I like how you took that. I like how you spun that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Get after it.
Get after it. Let's talk about get after. How do you feel about get after it? What is that? What is get after it to you?
I don't know. Get after it kind of embodies a lot of things. I feel like you could apply it to any aspect of life or what you're doing day to day that you want to. Like get after it. You could motivated wise, like get up and get after it. Like get shit done. Like get moving. Or you know, you just got to get after it when it's schoolwork. I mean, I think it's more so of just like put the excuse to the side and get after it. Get stuff done. And then there's just a lot of other aspects to it. I mean, me and Peyton have a pretty neat vision of it, of what we want to do. But I don't know if it's wise for us to dig deep or dive deep into what we're going with right now, because we need to have some stuff in set up in place before we really talk about it.
Yeah, I understand. I didn't even think.
But yeah, get after it. It's just all encompassing. It's just like a motto. Get after it.
Like we used it, well, you know, it was kind of a joke when we first started. We would, it was a drinking slogan, like, oh, like we're cracking a beer, let's get after it, you know.
Get after it.
We said it like every time we were sending it, we would just talk about, you know, get after it or whatever. But it actually has become an important aspect of my life in a lot of ways.
Little mantra.
Like, it's a little mantra as much as it was a joke. Now that like the long days I have, the freaking grind, like anyway, like I get up and see these things that I have to do for the day, and I don't want to do that. I'm just like, let's fucking get after it, dude. Like let's do it. And it actually is kind of a mind game that I've been playing with and it works. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if it's because it comes from our happy relationship that I have with you, and like it's built on grinding, and like I know you're grinding, Dyer's out there grinding, all you out there listening are grinding. Like, why am I talking down on myself? Just get fucking after it. Like, I don't know. I get passionate about it.
yeah. Well, I think it's also it's so easy, especially today, is just like not do anything. Sit down and just dog yourself and find a reason to not get anything done. And so I really appreciate that aspect when we do that. And we're just like, get after it. I mean, almost every day, me and Peyton send like a Snapchat or a message to each other. It's like, get after it. It's like, after it we get. That's kind of like the response to it. After it we get. So,
and I guess if you boil it down to like its simplest form, it's just be the best version of yourself. Whatever you're doing, get after it and do the best that you can at it. I mean, what's the point of doing something if you're gonna half-ass it? Don't half-ass it. Get, like, you know what I mean? Like,
don't half-ass it. Don't be a bitch. Like, get after it. Like,
and that's how it's really as simple as it is, has kind of flipped my outlook on life. And I've accomplished a lot more of my short-term like goals and daily tasks just from, and that's all being successful in life as of now from the perspective I have is you have these goals, and it's the process of reaching those goals is the tasks and the shit that you don't want to do every day that you have to do to reach your long-term goals. To complete those tasks and the stuff, the grind that you have to do and grind out every day, you have to have something, because not every day you're going to wake up and want to do anything. Like you said, you can easily just throw on fucking Netflix and chill. It's having the mental fortitude to, and whatever that may be. For me, a lot of times it's get after it, dude. Like, just get after it. Completing the task for the days to reach those long-term goals. And that's really, in a deep level for me, is what get after it is get off your ass, enjoy the process, go through the process of life, and get to where you're going.
right.
I mean, I don't know if that makes
it makes
sense.
a lot of sense. Embrace the suck, you know, like you got to do what you got to do. I mean, and I definitely, I'm liking that we're doing this and that we're kind of launching this whole thing that we've got going on with Get After and where we're going to take it in the different avenues we're about to unveil with it, because it's motivating me more so with having goals and then the goals I want to, but it's just like, it's really motivating for me to, like, you know, I got other people that are relying on me in an aspect now, like whether or not it's going to be with this podcast or whatever is coming up soon down the line. You know, I got things I got to get done that other people are relying on me for. I'm one of those people where, like, I mean, I'll do it for myself, but like, I won't let other people down. If I know other people are like involved and I have to do something for them, then it's going to get done. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
Oh. And even for us, we're going to have to get after it in terms of this podcast, because we're recording this and having fun, but getting the self gratification of the views and like the people that are going to listen. Like, it's not, we're going to upload this and people, it's not just going to take off. Like, we're going to have to get after the process of making this a successful podcast, because it's not just going to take off and we get 3 weeks into it and we've got 90 total views, not getting discouraged in that aspect. And just using not the outcome of the views and sharing this with people is not, you know, the end goal, in my opinion. It's just me and you talking, sharing our views and our life outlook and our story, and getting after it in that regard. And everything else will fall into place, you know. I
mean, I haven't really looked at this from the perspective of, I need views. We have to be the most successful. I'm doing this for me, like more for you. Like, I've just wanted to do a podcast. It gives me a chance to talk to a guy that I don't like, one of my best friends that I don't get to see. Like, I see you like twice a year. And so we're both doing our own things, got this going on, but it's a cool way for us to connect. It's a cool way to just like allow us to let other people get a little bit of a glimpse into our lives, you know, and what we've got going on and our relationship and what we're gonna be launching, you know, soon enough. And I don't know, I struggle with the idea of like, do people want to watch like us? You know, like, you know, I always think about that from a podcast perspective. Like, we got to bring something to the table in that aspect. Why do people want to watch us, or why would they? But I'm not really tripping about that as much because I'm like, well, I want to just record a podcast with my best friend, you know.
Yeah.
So I think and then if we just it's about consistency, right? So I mean, just stay getting after it, uploading week after week. We're gonna start doing this on a weekly basis, and once we can figure out all this Zoom stuff, and then eventually we're gonna buy some better equipment here so we can have better video quality and obviously better microphone qualities. But we just kind of want to start. If we don't get the ball rolling, we're not gonna yeah, we're never gonna improve or you know, grow.
Yeah. And this is a great foundation for wherever we take it. Like, always bringing the focus back to, yeah, like we're going to grow in outside aspects, but like this podcast will be the foundation of us. This is how whatever we do, this is how people are going to know Get After It is through me and you. And
yeah,
seeing the love and that we have between each other. And I can't wait, like, as we progress, for people to hear and learn our stories and like our different dynamics and all the stuff we've been through. Because I know, looking at this from a third party perspective, oh, it's just two guys talking. But as we get through, you know, talking over episodes, I can't wait for our story to get out there and grow. Like, I'm really excited.
Yeah, and I'm excited for guests too. Like, you know, just down the line, we've got a lot of cool ideas. You know, me being at Alabama and Peyton, you know, him going to he doesn't have it set in stone, but he might be going to, you know, a big name college here soon. I think it'd be neat to try to, you know, get after it in the motivational aspect. I can probably work on, if we get some traction, we're going to try to work on getting some athletes on here and talking to these guys. You know, I think a lot of people would be interested in seeing what like big name athletes from Alabama have going on. Like, if I could get, you know, Nick Saban on the podcast, wouldn't that be something? You know, like, there's definitely a lot we can do with this, and a lot of inspiration to be had, and showing other people, like, get after it. You know, you can achieve what you want to.
Yep. And if that stuff never came, I'm happy just talking to you every week. Getting to talk
I'm cool with that. Like, don't get your hopes up too much, everybody, at the moment, because that'll probably be a little bit down the line. But, you know, me and Peyton, we plan on just sticking with this, just me and him. At least weekly, we'll be recording something and putting it out there. And slow and steady, we have other stuff in the works that we want to get moving.
And we're in a big, like, we're on the precipice of a big, like, transition in life. And I'm excited just for our own self-interest to, like, this is kind of like our journal of this phase of our life, and looking back on this episode, you know, 2 years from now, like, wow, like, look where we were and look where we are now. I'm so excited for the future for you and for me. Like, there's, no matter what happens, I know just with your mindset and the way my outlook is on life, whatever we do, we're going to be successful. And documenting it in this format and having this forever, like, that's what really excites me.
That is going to be neat. And like, seeing how different we are, like how we even, you know, film the podcast and the way we're able to talk differently in the next 2 years or whatever down the road, just, you know, seeing how we change, just like you said, and seeing where we go from here and how many people we can, you know, get on the road with us.
You know what's going to be really exciting is our our first in-person podcast when we do this together. And we're together.
Oh yeah, we'll get that going soon when we get to visit each other. We might have to do that. What we'll do is when we do the Atlanta game, that'll probably be the first time I see you. Ooh. So we'll do or beginning of the season special, you know, or an Atlanta special or something like that. Me and you will sit down together and film one.
Crack a beer and get after it.
Yeah, we can drink and get a little loose with it. You know, that's something else I'm trying to like, you know, slowly kind of dive into this. I don't want to get, you know, hammered on a podcast and say something real stupid, you know.
Yeah. But that's us,
and,
dude. That's a part of our lives. And
yeah, I mean, I'm not ashamed of it, but
yeah.
I definitely think we still have to be smart about it. Just
Yeah.
That's gonna be cool. That's gonna be cool. Maybe next time. Next podcast we'll crack a few beers. How about that one?
Well, yeah, we'll slowly increase the beer count each episode.
Yeah. Every episode. So this is episode 1. The next episode we'll do 1 beer. And so on. We're like episode 150 and we're just like pissed drunk. Like how many beers can you drink in freaking 90 minutes? Like
it's an 8-hour episode. 8-hour episode, 6 hours are just us asleep on camera. Oh, dude. It's gonna be a blast.
Yeah. I'm really excited. I think this was a good foundation. You know, we had an opportunity to let people know about us. And we've still got so much more to talk about. We've got, we could go on for hours and hours and hours just on our relationship alone and the love we have for each other and what we've been through. Not to mention just, you know, world topics and talking about life, you know.
And what's going on. Like you, I know, can spend when, you know, at the end of the week can spend an entire episode on what's going on in your life in that week. And then ditto for me, what's been going on in my life for that week. So, you know, just us diving into who we are and what we've got going on. Like it's going to take some time and it's going to make for some great episodes. And I'm just excited to share.
Yeah, people got to bear with us. We're still kind of learning the ropes here, trying to understand what we're doing this first time. I mean, you know, to end this episode and this answer, kind of like before we do it, Peyton and I attempted to start a YouTube channel way back in the day, and this will bring some memories back for you. We wanted to do like unboxings, and so the original idea was P squared because Peyton and Peyton. And so we had filmed probably 10, 15 videos just on my iPad or our phones or whatever. And it was just like airsoft unboxings or Beats unboxings, just random things. But, you know, we kind of never uploaded any of those. But it's funny. We've always wanted to do something. And it's funny that 10 years later, literally 10, if not more years later, we're sitting here about to, or launching something together. You know, I feel like kind of come full circle with it.
It's crazy how life works, isn't it? Like we put that in the universe. We put that out there as little kids wanting to do that. And it's just funny, you know, like we had that itch at that age. We just didn't really know. We were just young. We didn't know how to do it. And it's probably for the best that we didn't. But
I mean, but if we just started then, ain't no telling where we would have been now.
That's true. That is true.
Comes down to privacy. There's just a lot of aspects of it that just didn't really line up properly.
Yeah. And, you know, that's why I'm glad I've got you because, you know, like I started a YouTube channel just documenting my Army life, but I haven't uploaded. It's dead. I'm going to upload this or like link this on my channel because I've still got people that interact. But I'm glad I've got you because doing it on your own and like when you're not in a great place motivation wise, having somebody else that's relying on you. Like I got burnt out doing YouTube as much as it is. And I'm also glad this is just weekly, is, you know, because we can come at it fresh and trying to do daily shit is just taxing, man. When you've got to record, edit, upload, you know, editing's the long part. And that's also, this is like a free flow podcast. Like, I'm glad we don't have to edit this because I want people to feel like blogging a lot of times you can try to kind of put on a persona.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
I want people to get a feel for us and like our, like the true conversation, not an edited format or, oh, we might've said something edgy or we're concerned about it. Like it is what it is. Like, we're going to let y'all see who we are and our relationship and I think it's not as formal, which is kind of something that you would want in this aspect. You want people to just see you for who you are and like just a normal conversation. I don't want people um like because it always bothers me. What I'm trying to say is it always bothers me when I see people editing their podcasts or like cutting things out. Like, oh, we can't say that or this. And it's like let's just record a 3 hour or whether or not it's an hour, whether or not it's three. Let's just upload it.
No, yeah, that's how it should be. And I'm excited to dive into some of the deeper aspects of life. That's kind of some of the stuff, as we get going, and that's how people really get to know you is talking about those deep issues and deep thoughts and
Definitely.
not just, hey guys, I'm here doing this today, watch me do this. All right, like the video, and there's value in that. I'm not degrading, but that's just not our goal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know. I think we've got something good going. I think we've got something fresh and something new for us, something that we're excited to do and to continue to move forward with,
I'm excited as we get going, hearing your adventures of Tuscaloosa, diaries of a Tuscaloosa kid, adventures of a Tuscaloosa kid.
I've already got plenty of those stories. I mean, I don't know if a lot of those need to even be said. There's a lot of stuff that I probably can't say, but
yeah.
We'll get into it. I definitely think it'll be fun, especially being back at school over this next year. On a weekly basis, we'll be sitting here talking. So then you'll be able to hear the stories of the week or like some random stuff that happens to be fresh on my mind, and you'll be more likely to be on that journey with me too, and then be able to hear what you've got going on. I'm really excited for people to see your aspect of life, because a lot of people, just like you had your Army P-Will YouTube channel, a lot of people are very interested in that lifestyle and like what's it about, and that's why you gained so much attraction initially. So I think it's cool because we're both in different circumstances, and so it's like you don't have to rely on people just to be able to relate to one person. They can probably relate to both of us in some aspects.
Yeah, absolutely. And our different outlooks and journeys on life are what make our relationship interesting all the time. I think, just two different life paths, but best friends, best friends doing different things. And I keep saying it, but it's truly how I'm feeling, just excited. Like, we've gone through the 10 formative years of our lives, and we're on this precipice, like I said, 20 years from now, still being best friends and seeing what we've accomplished. And what time are we at? Do we have time to go into a different?
I mean, from my knowledge on here, we got as much time as we want. I want to say we've been rolling for about an hour.
All right. So we were talking about the get after it. I was talking about how it's kind of like the grind. And I kind of want to get into like your grind from like the aspect of a college student. A lot of people, not a lot of people, that's a bad way to phrase it. Like there's a grind in a certain aspect that goes into being a college kid. You've got your routine and like your classes. And I just want to know like your mental state of like, so you've been in college a while, like, what to expect, how your schedule coming up, the discipline and the input and effort you have to be successful in school. What is your mind state on that? Like when you get 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 9 weeks into a school year versus like, oh, this is my first weekend on campus. Like, what is that transformation? Like, how do you, what is your mind state as a college kid? Because it's something like that everybody, most people go to college, but nobody really talks about. And I find interesting when I have heard it, like people talk about, oh, like I'm really stressed or I'm depressed or whatever. Like, what's your spiritual mind? Not spiritual, but kind of just your thoughts.
I mean, I remember my freshman year, like moving in and that feeling and, just the butterflies or whatever it was, oh my God, new place. Finally get to, for me, at least it was the first time I was ever by myself in that aspect, living alone, I had to do everything for myself, make it to class and do what I needed. But after my freshman year, I definitely just kind of like it's just a mental grind because my freshman year it was all new, it was fresh. I was excited and grinded it out. It was no problem. Freshman year, it's really easy, from being honest. But then as you go on, you kind of start getting sucked into other aspects of college, and that's college, where it's drinking and partying, and you're surrounded by women and all these other kids, and there's a lot of other things that you can get sucked into in that aspect. So you definitely have to learn self-discipline very quickly, and I can definitely see how it's affected people negatively. I mean, I definitely went through about a year of like a rough patch of where I was getting sucked into drinking and partying and fuck college, fuck classes. Like I'm gonna have fun. Um, but you have to learn quick. I mean, I'm glad, I'm fortunate enough to have been able to do that, and I know a lot of people aren't in that position, and so like I'm definitely privileged in that aspect. But it's definitely just it's so hard to explain. I feel like the reason people don't talk about it is because it's so hard to explain, so hard to translate into words. Just like because it's different for everybody. People might be able to relate to what I've been through, and they might have a whole different outlook on their experience. But definitely comes down to just like self discipline. You have to solidify a routine. In the gym is huge. Like your body in college, you don't eat good. You're pouring alcohol and like basically poisoning your body the whole time. And so, I mean, not for everybody, but for especially being in Alabama, it's a big ass party school. So in that sense, but you definitely have to set a routine and make sure you get your work done and classes wise, going to the library. Make sure you go to class. I think the biggest thing for people is just go to class. Like, I catch
Yeah.
people that are struggling so much and they're like, man, I can't get this done. I can't figure this out. And I'm like, well, are you going to class? Like, no, I haven't been to class in a couple weeks. I'm like, how do you expect to get anything done or know what's going on if you don't go to class? You know?
Wow. Yeah.
So, and I definitely caught myself there a few times where I'd gone like 2 weeks at a time without going to class and had to drop some classes and whatnot. But, you know, it's definitely an eye opener and college is one of those times where you get thrusted out there into the real world, but not the real world. It's like limbo. It's like I don't know. I feel like they design. I don't want to get into like the system aspect of things when it comes to like I don't not necessarily in the conspiracy aspect, but I feel like it's set up in a sense like let's put these kids right out of high school in this scenario where they're learning, but then they're transitioning into adulthood. They have all this time to party and get out of your system. I think it's just like designed to let you get a bunch of shit out of your system, and because everybody says college is the golden years. You have the best time of your life, so you get it all out of your system, and then next thing you know, you're thrusted out of college into a job and 9 to 5 for most people, or doing whatever, and you don't get to enjoy really anything. That kind of took a bunch of terms. I'm not really good with staying on topic. I'm going to have to learn how to do that as we progress through this podcast.
No, but
Um,
you brought up a couple of good points. Like the first that I want to touch on is like college being the best years of your life. And like, I'm not denying that they're fun, like from what I've experienced from you and so on. Like, it's a great time to be alive. But at the same time, like, I refuse that concept of like, you can, not you, but like people can say college is going to be the best time of your life. I fucking refuse to let my 18 to 20, for me, like 21 to 24-year-old self, I refuse that age to be the best time of my life. The best time of my life is today, and it's going to be even better tomorrow. Like
exactly.
the process of getting to where I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm grateful to be where I am in life. And I know college students are grateful to be in their place in life, but life is so much bigger and moving forward than peaking in, the term is peaking in high school, but instead of peaking in college, like you've got 40, 50, 60 years of life moving forward. Just, I don't know why I got caught up on that, but I have such big visions for myself and for you and for everybody, for life, for the world. But for me and you specifically, like I refuse to let college be our best years. And then you were also talking about the discipline aspect of like, I was coming from like, people talk about the military being like, oh, like you must be really disciplined. You be here in the military and so on and so forth. I have a lot of respect in the lifestyle that you lead and every college kid leads, because they talk about discipline in the military aspect, but like it's forced discipline on my end. I don't have a freaking choice. The day I shipped off, like I'm told where to be, when to be there, as you get through training, you have more and more freedom and more self-responsibility. But the initial like year and a half in the Army, I'm told what to do. The day you show up on campus, hey buddy, here's your class schedule, see you there. And then you're left to figure it the fuck out. And I have a lot of respect for that, because people talk, oh, you're just going to college. Like, not to me, but like there's people doing the military thing or people doing whatever. Like you're just a college kid. Like you need to grow up and handle it. And that's a lot. Like that's more, in my opinion, than I had to go through. Like my shit sucked, but I can't imagine being 8 years old and like, hey dude, like your class is over here. Here's your schedule. See you. Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely difficulties to both those aspects, because I definitely have a tremendous amount of respect for anybody in the military and just what you guys do on a daily basis. Because, like, I mean, I haven't really thought about it from that perspective that you just kind of laid out of everything's forced on you from day one. I haven't thought about it, the differences in that way of being in college and you don't, like, you just figure it the fuck out, like, and being 18. That's really something to think about in that aspect. But
it's more societal thing too. Like, should we ask our 18-year-olds to go to school to do something for the rest of their life when they're not even fully formed? Like, is that the right layout? And then two, just send them with no fucking tools or bare minimum tools to figure it out. Like, I know there's more than just, hey, here's your schedule, figure it out. But in the grand scheme, I kind of feel like that's how it is. Hey, 18-year-old kid that, was in high school 3 months ago, like, figure out what you want to do in life and go take these classes and get it done. And we'll see you in 4 years in the real world. Like, kind of processes that in a large way,
Yeah, it's definitely tough because, a lot of people go through that scenario of what's my major? I don't have any clue what I want to do. I mean, I don't even know what I even really want to do, if I'm being honest with myself. I mean, I want to do real estate. I can see myself, being in that aspect, and I'm happy with the financial or doing the finance side of things. But it's so difficult, and there's so many ways you could look at it from that aspect. I feel like it is just like you said. It's a lot to ask of a kid because we're all just kids. You're 18, you think you're an adult, you think your dick's massive, and you're walking onto campus, and you think you got it all figured out. I mean, I definitely felt that I did, but I did, and frankly, I still don't. And I don't think anybody ever really has it figured out.
Yeah.
I think it just slow and steady wins the race with that sort of thing. You learn through yourself. I mean, make some mistakes. I think failure, the fear of failure is probably like the worst thing you can have. Don't be scared to fail. You're only going to grow. The only way you're going to learn is to fail. The only way that I've learned what not to do is by doing what I'm not supposed to do. And that's not like doing like very illegal stuff, like, let's go fucking kill somebody. No, it's like, oh, I didn't go to class for 2 weeks. Yeah, you fucked up. I'm not going to do that again, or just, oh, hey, I had a test on Wednesday and I went out and got hammered drunk on Tuesday night. No, like, you're not going to get anything done, or you're not going to make it to class. There's just little things that you learn over time. So fear of failure is just, you're doing yourself an injustice. If you don't take risks and you don't do something that you're uncomfortable with, you're never going to grow. you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
But
I could spend we could spend a whole episode on college and like what I think about it and the way I think it's set up in the system. I mean, there's a lot of people like, you know, the conspiracies and so I'm not talking conspiracy wise, just like, you know, how I feel, my opinion on like what is college, you know. That's something we can dive deeper into another episode if we really want to.
yeah. No, I mean, yeah, we can definitely dive in it deeper. I mean, if you come out the other side of college, though, I feel like it's beneficial. Like even from my aspect, like as much as it's different, I still kind of relate my experience to college because I'm a college age kid. And I've been going to school and like there's similar, as much as it would seem on the outside, there are a lot of similarities in certain aspects. And at this age, you know, we're 22 years old now. There's a lot of distractions for me, like, and I'm sure the same for you over the years. Like you've got the things that you have to do to be successful, and then you've got everything else, the distractions. And for me, not so much anymore, but it was video games, and girls being out at the bars and like always chasing ass, and like the just females in general that I'm sure every dude can relate. Just always focused on girls and alcohol and drinking and partying. Just, you know, girls and partying, big distractions. And I've really found myself a lot. I went through the partying, you know, in June and July when I was home with y'all, like I got after it, but I've really focused myself, and I think it's something a lot of people can take with them. I distanced myself from the party scene because 6 months ago, we'll call it 8 months ago, there was like a 6-week stretch where every weekend, I don't go out during the week because I'm working. Every weekend I was out partying or drinking with the boys or over at a girl's house or doing something that, you know, I was fun in the moment, but then you come home and you're kind of like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what's going on? And when I pulled back from that is when I really found my goals and what I really like has turned into internal happiness. And I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but pulling back from the things that you think are fun, and they are fun and can be beneficial, but getting after pulling back, realizing your goals and getting after your goals. Now I go out maybe once a month, once every 2 weeks, and I have so much more fun, and I get, you know, I spend less money because I get less drunk because I'm in the moment, because I know the bigger purpose of my life and I have my own internal happiness. And the partying is just like a supplemental fun that I enjoy in the moment. And I get up the next morning and I'm like, dude, I had a great time with my boys last night. Like I talked to this amazing girl, like we hung out, whatever. Like I have such great people in my life. Now I'm excited to get back on my purpose, which for me is football and coaching and talking, doing that thing. And I don't know, just when you find yourself, everything in life is more enjoyable. And I'm not saying like I'm perfect and I've found myself, but I've really refocused my life. And I think it's something a lot of people should really put energy into. And I think it's beneficial. Sorry for the tangent. I'm just
dude.
really passionate.
That's great info, you know. It's an insight into your brain, like kind of how you're thinking and whatnot. I mean, going off of that, I think you make a good point. Like figure out a purpose in your life, you know, like write down your goals or like what do you want to do? Like what are your aspirations or like what do you want? Like whether it could be materialistic or it couldn't, you know, like just open up, buy a journal or buy a notebook and every day write your top 10 goals. You know, if you don't lay them out or understand what you want to do, you're never going to get there. You're never going to, you know, I don't think they're ever going to mature.
The
I
biggest
hate this camera, man. It's not freaking, it's not like focused at all. I'm about to figure it out. Maybe start using just a laptop or my phone like you are. I don't know what's going on.
Getting into like, you brought up like journaling, the focus that I found, the biggest things that have had the greatest impact on my life, and I've recently started doing them within the last 6 months, but 6 months ago I started, and I have not missed one day of doing it, is journaling, writing down my journal at the end of the day and meditating for at least 10 minutes every day. I do it every day, and I still have a long ass way to go, but it has helped me so much mentally and on my path in life of determining who I am and what makes me happy and fulfilled. I think everybody should do it. I
So
don't know.
dive into like the meditating aspect, like what before and after, like how did you feel before, 6 months into it now? How do you feel now? Like, what do you think changed? How how do you think the best way for you to meditate is? Like, give us a little insight on that. I'm curious. I don't meditate. I'd like to understand it and get into it.
Yeah. So it's funny. Like, I started meditating because of a girl here in Manhattan.
Get after it.
Yeah, get after it. I started meditating because of a girl. I won't get into that story, but we ended things or whatever, and we were not like exclusive or whatever, but I put so much of myself, like my happiness, not happiness, but so much of my life, she was supplemental to my life. And when that was gone, I was like, damn, like I'm going out with the boys. I needed a reason to come back. And I started listening to the Y&K podcast, with Mike, and he's the one that put me on it about 6 months ago, to be honest, after, are you still there?
Yeah.
Oh
shit, my video stopped, my bad.
Yeah, I saw that. I was wondering, but I got into the meditating just for my mental health. Like, I was thinking about so many different things. I had no expectations. I just was always thinking about the next big thing. Like, I have such big goals, lofty goals, and they can get overwhelming. So I listened to him and then started reading some books, a guide to spirituality without religion by Sam Harris on Audible, great book, Introduction to Meditation. And I just sit down for 10 minutes a day, right before I go to bed, usually is when it's in my routine. And I sit down, I take about 30 seconds before I start the clock on my watch and just feel my legs, feel my body, like feel my chest breathing, like feel my feet on the floor.
You
like
physically touch yourself, or you just like feel those parts of your bodies mentally?
Both. Like, I'm mentally feeling myself, but also physically, like I mentally feel my hands rubbing against my legs, and then like I'll rub my calves and like just my body, like get a feel for your body while you're breathing. And it's the intent is just to like feel yourself come to this moment. This is your body. Because think about it, like when you get up in the morning and you start your day, like you got shit to do, you don't even take the time to realize like I'm a human. Like, this is my body. This is this is me. This is my temple. So I just get a feel for it. And then I start the clock, and I literally just sit here and in one, out one, in one, and then a thought will arise of something I got to do at work or somebody I've got to reach out to for football. And I'm like, I mentally, like, my mind wandered back to the breath. In 3, out 3, in 4. Oh, there's a thought. And it's hard as fuck at first. Like, you'll feel like such a failure and an idiot because literally you can't go the second of like it takes to inhale without a thought coming in. And you're always like, my mind just wandered. But over time, you'll get a full breath in and you haven't thought. And it's just the entire purpose of it is to just living in the moment, getting, seeing your thoughts come in and come out. And as menial as it sounds, it has made such a massive difference. Like, I went through a little bit of a depressive episode, and the meditation really brought, like, I still struggle days, but it has really brought me to a point where like I'm happy. I try to value like the relationships out of people instead of always thinking about what I have to do, being back in the present moment, just like taking life in around me. It's kind of like deep, but it's literally just, I count up to 20, in 1, out 1, in 2, out 2, all the way up to 20, and then back down, and then back up, and then back down for 10 minutes. And it makes such a massive difference. First, I journal before I do the meditation. I find the journal just recounting my day of things I've done, and then how I feel about it, or random tangents. I usually fill up with my journals over there. It's about a front of a page. Just, I get my thoughts on paper of what I want or what I've done or what I'm thinking about. Get it on paper. It's locked. It's there. So I don't have to think about it anymore. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that helps ease me into the meditation of like,
It's like
I've
releasing
thought,
those thoughts.
yeah, I've thought about everything. There's nothing to think about. Let me start meditating. And it sounds kind of like weird, and I'll be the first to admit it, but dude, it has made such a massive difference in my happiness and my health. Like, it's huge.
I definitely can see that. And I've heard so many people meditate, and like I know a lot of people that meditate every day, and I just never took the time to get into it. I think definitely be beneficial. It was really cool hearing like the way you do it and the way that you like experiencing it and how it makes you feel. So,
And I've rushed it. I could do a whole podcast on that.
yeah. What was that book you said for everybody at home?
It's called Wake Up, A Guide to Spirituality Without Religion by Sam Harris. I listen to Audible.
That's cool. I'm gonna definitely check that out. Sounds like a good read.
But Mike Stud, he talks about it a lot, and that's who put me on to Sam Harris. And it's something like that everybody struggles with, but nobody talks about really. Like you experience and I experience the world through my mind and your mind. Like, your mind is the world, but nobody ever talks about it and the health of it and training and exercising your mind. Like, we exercise our bodies, but nobody talks about exercising the mind. But that's literally how you live and see the world. I don't know. I'm passionate about that.
Yeah. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, and I think a lot of more people should get into it. And you're definitely going to help me get into that. I think that's something I need to add to my goals over the next, 6 months, is maybe start meditating every day before bed. And is that in complete silence? Do you turn on like a little bit of like the background white noise when you do it? Because I've heard all different aspects and all different types of way that you could do it. I mean, I guess it kind of comes down to whatever works for you, or what?
Yeah, it's really just whatever works for you. I typically don't turn anything on. Sometimes my fan will be on, and just that little bit of noise is fine. But when I first started, I wanted complete silence. But now, like, I don't mind having my headphones on. I can hear the AC kick on or somebody talk down the hallway. I kind of like enjoy that challenge of like, oh shit, I hear that. It doesn't matter. I'm here. Like,
yeah,
I can't change. All that I have is this moment. I can't change what they're doing. There's no reason to think about them. It's just me. Like, it's just whatever you're comfortable with. And there's no right way to meditate. It's count your breaths and go from there. You'll be amazed at like how loud your mind is when you're paying attention. And yeah, it's made a big difference in my life. I've noticed it in my life goals and relationships that I have with girls and friends and people. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, but
yeah, it's definitely something to think about. I really need to. I've meditated like 2 or 3 times in my life. Justin Page, one of my roommates, he was my first roommate in college. He was a big meditating guy, and he actually kind of sat me down a couple times when we lived together. He kind of showed me the ropes, and I definitely felt a lot more like relieved and relaxed. I just don't think I ever stuck with it enough. I think when it comes to meditation, consistency is key there.
And big thing, it's a lot like diet, in the fact of like, nobody goes on a diet until they want to lose weight or need to lose weight. I was never going to start meditating until I came to the point I was like, I got to change something. I'm driving myself fucking insane. So I just started looking for resources. Meditation, everybody knows about it, but nobody ever does it. I'm like, fuck it. Like, I might as well try something.
Right.
And I'm glad I did. Like, I'll never not go a day ever again without meditating. It's just good for me. And it's good for everybody, I think, to take time for yourself, because if you think about it, think about a time in your day when you're just like just being you, when you're not looking at your phone, you're not looking at a TV screen, you're not projecting, like projecting into the world. Like, think about, when is the last time you were just in a room without your phone, without the TV on, by yourself, without doing something?
Yeah.
I mean, there are periods of time, maybe when you had your surgery and you were just there, but like during your like college life, especially when you're active socially and school, like I would venture to guess there's very few times where you're just sitting here, like
Yeah, you're exactly right.
intaking information instead of processing the information that you have.
Yeah, I think that's something that people really don't think about, or don't even notice or take the time to recognize. And I think you definitely probably could have just opened a lot of things up for a lot of people in their head. I mean, you opened it up for me. Like thinking about that, you're right. Like I can probably count on my hands the amount of times I've sat with my own thoughts in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Whether or not, because like even if I'm working or something, I've always got something. I'm a big podcast guy too, just like you. I always have something in my ears, whether it's music or I'm listening to something, podcast or watching a video, this and that. I mean, the only times I'm with my thoughts, but then again, not even with your thoughts, is when I'm reading a book because I'm still intaking something. Other than that, I'm asleep. And you're not really with your thoughts when you're asleep, you're just kind of dreaming.
And like when you're reading a book, you're reading and your mind wanders.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how far was I reading? That's meditation right there. Bringing your attention from your thoughts back to, I'm reading this book.
Yeah.
I'm doing. That's all.
So you could almost use reading as a type of meditation in a sense, you think?
No, it's just that act of like living in the moment. Like we have these present or these, we like to live and think about the past, and that brings on like anxiety or sadness or like, fuck, I should have done that. And then we think in the future of like these long-term goals that you have. And it's that mind living in the present is just, I'm thinking about my long-term goals. I don't have those. Like, that's me projecting. That's not real. I may make it real, but that's not real. It's, I'm writing this report for school. I can't wait until I graduate and I'm a financial advisor. I'm projecting in the future back to this book report. That's all it is, living now.
Yeah.
Living in this moment. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, man. That's a lot. I mean, it's a lot to take in there. Trying to think about it. I'm over here. I'm catching myself trying to, really understand what's going on and relate it to my life. But that might be a good way to cap off this first episode.
The spiritual wave I went on.
Yeah, dude, I like that little Mike Stud vibes. Shout out Mike Stud. Shout out Ball Don't Lie. Johnny, great podcast, by the way. But yeah, man. So I'm really excited to get this started with you, and I'm glad we finally got the ball rolling. We just got to get after it and start recording and doing what we need to do. So I think this is a good. We kind of jumped around a lot in this. I think it's neat how the conversation kind of took itself where it needed to go.
I kind of forgot we were doing a podcast there for a little while.
Yeah, just chatting. That's just so chatting. Cool. That's awesome. I definitely think we're going to progress a lot more and see where it goes from here. I mean, we'll probably post this to YouTube first. I think we're going to start our little channel on there and probably post on there. So if you guys want to leave comments, I'm sure we'll read it. We're probably going to get to a point where I'm not looking at the comments because there's going to be a lot of shit stirs in down there eventually. But like Joe Rogan says, just stay out of it. But yeah, we'd love to get started. Love to hear some responses, hear some feedback. Let us know what you think. If audio issues, obviously there's probably going to be audio issues on this first one, but I'm really glad that we got to do this, Peyton. I think this is going to be a neat little adventure.
Absolutely. And I want all of you guys out there listening to get after it. Whatever you're doing, whatever the hell it is, I don't care. Get after it.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
Get after it, everybody.
Get after it.
I love you, brother.
Love you, bro. Glad we did this.